The Windy City, modern-day Chicago. The largest city in the Midwest, home to 2.7 million people, according to the United States Census Bureau, making it a melting pot of many different cultures, home to 250 live music events and 40 annual film festivals. Chicago also contains 513 district-run schools. Even though Chicago is a prospering city of arts and culture, it's also home to many living below the poverty line. The largest group of people living below the poverty line is African Americans. They make up nearly a third of all the people living in poverty within Chicago's lines. 238,822 African Americans live in poverty out of a total 582,375. A fifth of all of Chicago's total population lives in poverty. Many people living below the poverty line turn to crime. Chicago is also known for its horrendous amount of crime compared to the rest of the country. Its annual crime rate is 119,060 crimes per year. There are 515 crimes per square mile each year. 191 people will experience a violent crime per year, while 1 in 30 people will experience a property crime. Property crime includes burglary, larceny, theft, motor vehicle theft, arson, shoplifting, and vandalism.
This problem was supposed to be fixed, however, in the 1960s. On January 7, 1966, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference proclaimed that they would be starting the Chicago Freedom Movement, a campaign against de facto segregation within education, housing, and employment. Codename Operation Breadbasket, which was led by Jesse Jackson, they were met with much hostility. The Southern Baptist minister Martin Luther King Jr. said that he had seen many civil rights demonstrations in the South, but had never been met with as much hostility as he did in Chicago. He was quoted saying, "Many whites who oppose open housing would deny that they are racists. They turn to sociological arguments, that criminal responses are environmental, not racial." In late August, Mayor Daley of Chicago was very eager to find a solution that would stop the racial violence in his city. He met with Martin Luther King Jr. to discuss his policies. A summit agreement was announced. The Chicago Housing Authority promised to build public housing and make mortgages available regardless of race. Though this summit agreement did not achieve a whole lot, King was quoted during a press conference on the 24th of March in 1967 saying, "It appears that for all intents and purposes, the public agencies have on the agreement and have in the fact of credence to who proclaim the housing agreement a shame and batch of false promises." The 1960s Chicago movement had the intent of creating a better life for African Americans in Chicago. And as we've seen in the last 50 years, African Americans are still struggling with many things that they were struggling with in the 1960s to this day.